Hello and welcome to Upstack America's Oracle EBS Financials Functional Training. My name is Bob and I'm the lead senior consultant. And today we are going to discuss the data conversion process. Now, what is data conversion process? Now, as an Oracle Financials Functional Consultant, you will have to understand how data is converted. Okay, you'll have to understand the whole conversion process so that you can be able to give the best solution out there for the client. Okay, now what is data conversion process? Data conversion process is basically a process where the existing historical data from the client's legacy system is extracted, cleansed, formatted and installed in the new system, in this case, which is Oracle, okay? And this data conversion process can be either manual or automated, all right? We'll talk about that as we move along with this, with today's class, okay? And mostly this process is mostly a one-time process, but it requires a lot of planning and testing, okay? It's mostly a one-time process, but it requires a lot of planning and testing. Now, why is it a one-time process? Because when you go to the client, okay, when you have set up the system, the Oracle system, you've configured all modules. Now, what you normally do is you can't just give that client just a blank system for them to start using moving forward, okay? You will have to convert the historical data from the older system and bring it to the system, the Oracle system that you've already configured for the client. Why? Because at the end of, let's say for example, at the end of the year, okay, the client is doing reporting. You know, if they didn't have any historical data that was converted, they won't have much. Let's say for example, they are going live around September, okay? Now, from September to end of December, when they run the financial reports, if there was nothing that was converted, that business will show balances only from September to December. But that is wrong. That is wrong because this business has been in business for a long time. Okay, so that's the reason why you have to convert the historical data. Okay, so that the same information, the balances are captured when the client moves forward with the Oracle system. So at the end of the month, at the end of the year, for example, when they do the reporting, they will do the right, correct reporting because they have historical data which was there in the older system. Okay. Now, the conversion process must be executed and performed before the go live. Okay, like I said, because when you go live, you don't want to give the client just a shell system, okay, where you've done the setups only, okay? You need the historical data, okay, so that now when they start using the system, they still have the historical data that they had in their older, in the legacy system or the older system that they were using, okay? Now, when you're talking about data conversion process, we need to talk about an interface, all right? Now, what is an interface? An interface is basically a connection or linkage between two systems in order to synchronize the data, all right? So it's basically that connection between whatever the legacy system was, all right, and the Oracle system or any other system and Oracle system, or even also between different modules within the Oracle EBS system. Okay, so that's how each and every module talk. They talk through interfaces. Okay, each and every module is connected to each other. Remember, we said transactions from all these other modules, the subledger modules, they send transactions into the Oracle, Oracle General Ledger module. Okay, now how are those modules connected? It's through an interface. Okay. Same concepts, the same Oracle EBS system can be connected to other systems, other third-party systems through an interface. Okay, so that's what an interface is. a connection or linkage between two systems in order to synchronize the data. All right. Now, data synchronization can be done either manually in batch or real time. So basically, manual is where the synchronization is done as needed. Okay. And where, as far as the batch is concerned, this is where the synchronization is done in large volume at given times. Let's say, for example, at the end of the week, whatever transactions, let's say, for example, you have an interface between a third-party system which generates sales order, okay, and send the sales order to GL in Oracle system. Then those sales orders may be sent to Oracle GL as a batch at the end of the week. Okay. All right, so that's what you mean by batch. Okay, manual, those sales orders can be sent wherever you feel like that's the time that you want to send them. All right, from the other system. Okay, that's what I mean by manual. Synchronization is done as needed. Now, on the other hand, also we have real time, and this is done as it happens in real time. Okay, let's say, for example, a sales order is generated in the third-party system. That same sales order will be sent directly into the general ledger module immediately once it's up, once it hits that other system. It will also reflect on the Oracle system side. Okay, it will be sent to the Oracle system side. All right. Okay, as it happens. All right, that's real time. Now, the connection of the interface can be triggered by an event such as running a concurrent program. Okay, this connection is normally triggered by an event such as running a concurrent program. We'll talk about concurrent programs too as part of this class. Okay, now an interface can be very expensive to design and maintain. All right. So when as you go out there as an Oracle Financials Functional Consultant, you need to understand that these interfaces, as you help in designing and developing the interfaces, you'll have to understand that these are very expensive undertaking, okay, for the business. And also it's very expensive to maintain that system for it to keep on running, okay, for as long as the client needs the interface. All right. Now, what are the types of interfaces? There are two types of interfaces. There's one, the inbound interface, and there is the outbound interface. Now, the inbound interface takes data from a third-party system and inserts that data into the Oracle Open Interface tables. So the inbound interface will pick up transactions or data from whatever system it is, the third-party system, or we call it legacy system, okay? And then it will insert those transactions or data into the Oracle Open Interface tables. All right. Now, with the outbound interface, it takes data from the Oracle tables and inserts that data into an external system or a third-party system. All right. So an outbound interface takes data from Oracle tables and inserts that data into an external system. Now, what are the conversion steps or inbound interface steps? Okay, when you're doing conversion as an Oracle Financials Functional Consultant, these are the steps that you will have to undergo, okay, when you're doing any conversion. All right, remember we said conversion is where you are transferring historical data from the legacy system into the Oracle system, or from a third-party system into an Oracle system. And this one, you can only do it through an inbound interface. Okay, so that conversion, you can do it through an inbound interface because you're extracting data from that system and bringing that data into the Oracle system. All right, now this is the steps one, and these steps are basically I've separated them into the way into who does what. Okay, so for example, you can see the first one is done by functional and developers. The other one is usually done by the developers. The other one is usually done by the developers, and the other one is mostly done by the functional people. Okay, so the first step is to extract the data from the legacy system or that party system, okay, into a flat file. Okay, so data you have, for example, you have a legacy system that you want to move your historical data, okay, from into the Oracle system. You have to find a way of extracting that data, okay, from that system. Okay, normally you have, once the data is extracted, it's prepared in a CSV format file. Okay, so you're gonna prepare that. All right, and then now the second step is to use SQL Loader or any equivalent tool. There are tools out there to do this kind of thing, to upload the information into a temporary table or directory. Okay, there will be a way. You know, when you are working as a functional consultant, you'll be working very closely with the developers or the technical people. Okay, so you'll get to know exactly what they will be doing. Okay, since you will be part of this whole process. All right, and that's why you need to understand this conversion process, because it's very, very important. You will be working very, very closely with your developers or the technical guys in order to make sure that this process is completed successfully. Okay, so the next step, once the data is loaded into the temporary tables or directory, the next step is to write a SQL program to take data from that temporary table or directory and insert it into the Oracle Open Interface table. Okay, so data will be picked up from the temporary directory, okay, and then inserted into the Oracle Interface table. Okay, there will be a program. The developers will create a program to do all that. You don't have to do anything as a functional consultant, but you need to understand this process. It's very, very important. Now, the last step is to run the concurrent program to pick up the data that has been already been sent into the interface table, and you'll pick up this data and send it into the Oracle base tables. Okay, all right. So the data will be picked up, okay, by the concurrent program, okay, from the interface table, because the interface table is basically like where you dump. That's where the records are dumped, okay. And then now you would have to run a program to pick up those transactions of the data from the interface table and send the transactions of the data into the base tables. Base tables is where those functionalities or those data needs to reside. Okay. Now, what are the outbound? We've talked about the inbound interface steps, which is basically what you do as part of the conversion, because when you're doing conversion, you are converting transactions or data from another system into Oracle, and that one you use the inbound interface. Now, what are the steps for outbound interface? It's quite similar, okay, to the inbound interface, but there are just two of them. One, you write a SQL program to extract the data from the Oracle base tables into a flat file. A flat file is the one that will be a file that will be in a format that can be consumed by the other system. Okay, so who does that? Mostly it's gonna be your developer who's gonna do that. They're gonna write the program, okay, to extract that data into the correct formatting. Okay, and then now the next step is to use another custom program to read the data that was sent from the Oracle base tables and post that transaction or those transactions of the data into the legacy system or any third-party system. Okay, so all that is done by the developers, creating these programs. Okay, but then again, you as a consultant, when you're testing any outbound interfaces, you will have to create scripts test scripts. Okay, you'll have to prepare transactions and see that those transactions have been sent from the Oracle system into the third-party system or the legacy system. So you have to test that connection as a functional consultant. All right, and another thing is you're gonna be helping out with developing the customization documents. Okay, drafting the customization documents, which we're gonna talk about as part of this. We're gonna talk about that in this class. Okay, now what are the standard ways to create an interface? There are different ways of creating an interface. Okay, you as a consultant, as a functional consultant, you just need some knowledge about all this. Okay, you're not gonna be doing this. You are not the one who will be actually be creating the interface. All right, you are not the one who will be doing that. You are basically, you're gonna go to the project as a subject matter expert from the functional perspective. All right, so all these ways of creating an interface, these are things that developers or technical people are the ones who know about. Okay, so this is just for your information only. So one of them is open interface. An open interface is basically a table-based interface registered as a concurrent program. Okay, they can use also APIs, application program interface. It's basically a parameter-based stored procedure. Okay, you don't have to know about all those things. Okay, that's not your work. That's the work of the developer, like I said. There is also something called EDI, electronic data interchange, and it's basically Oracle themselves. They provide users with the ability to conduct business electronically between trading partners. All right, based on the electronic commerce standards and methodology. All right, so this is something that is offered by Oracle, okay, EDI. But like I said, you don't really need to understand those technical terms, you know. So your work is basically just have some knowledge as a consultant, as a functional consultant, and the rest, creating an interface, will be done by the technical people or the developers. Okay. Now, what is an open interface table? Now, for an inbound interface, the interface table is the intermediary table where data from the source application temporarily resides until it's validated and processed into Oracle-based tables through a standard import or concurrent program. So basically, open interface tables are standard Oracle tables. Okay? And Oracle uses open interface table to provide a simple interface to Oracle tables. Okay, so it's basically provided as a standard Oracle table by Oracle. Okay, that's what you need to understand. And there is a list of open interface tables by module. Okay, I'm gonna cover a few of them as part of this as well. Okay, so Oracle has a list of all the open interface tables by module. Okay. Now, what is an Oracle interface program or concurrent program that like we've been talking about? Now, most modules have standard import programs or concurrent processes that facilitate custom inbound interfaces. Okay, so basically what this Oracle instance interface program does is they pull data from the open interface table, validates that data, and then inserts them into the Oracle base tables. Remember, the Oracle base tables are where every functionality that you normally see on your screen, that behind that functionality, there lies a table, the base table. That's where that functionality resides, okay, on the database. Those are Oracle base tables, okay? So, an Oracle interface program pulls data from the open interface table, validates the data, and then inserts them into the Oracle base tables. Now, upon successful completion of the process, then it deletes that the processed rows from the interface table and marks them as complete. All right. So once the process is completed, the program will delete the processed rows. Okay, whatever you are trying to process. Okay, and then it will mark those rows as complete. The whole process as complete. Okay. Now, depending on the import, errors can be viewed in various ways. For example, exception reports. Okay. Remember, when you're running these programs, or when you're doing conversion, or when you're trying to test the interfaces, sometimes when you run them, you're gonna face some errors. Okay. And even on a day-to-day basis, when the clients are using this interface, when the transactions are moving from one system to the next, to the other, the data has to be validated. Okay, when data is not valid, there has to be a way of communicating the errors. Okay, and that can be done by use of exception reports. Now, like I said, Oracle has standard import programs. Okay, by modules. One, we have GL, and for GL we have Journal Import Program. I'm just giving a few of them in this class. Okay, this is not all the programs out there. This is just some examples that you need to know. Okay, one of them is the Journal Import Program. You know what that is. You've learned it in the General Ledger module already. Okay, the other one is the in accounts payables, we have the payables open interface. All right, in AR we have customer interface, and also we have the auto invoice program. Okay, now what are the data conversion task lists? All right, now when you're working as a consultant, there'll be conversion tasks that you will need to follow. Okay, in order for you to successfully complete the conversion process. One, you need to plan the process. You need to plan how the data will be moved from the legacy system into the Oracle system. Two, you need to design the process. You have to decide what data needs to be converted, because not every data in the Oracle, in the legacy system will be converted into the Oracle system. Okay, not every data will be converted, will be moved from the legacy system into Oracle system. Okay, that's what you need to understand. Okay, not every data. You need also to identify how much in volume that you're going to do the conversion. Whatever data that you're working on, how much in volume is it? Okay. As part of the design process, you have to perform data mapping. Now, what is data mapping? Data mapping is basically where you tell the system, you have to come up with a way of telling the system where each and every data will go in the Oracle system, from the legacy system into the Oracle system. Let's say, for example, you're converting supplier records. Okay. Now, assuming the legacy system in their supplier records, they don't have any supplier number. Okay. They have something called supplier ID. Okay. It could be that, as per supplier number, we have supplier number in Oracle system. Okay, there's that functionality of having a supplier number and supplier name. But assuming in the legacy system, we don't have a supplier number. It's called supplier ID. Or maybe supplier ID means something different. Okay, so what you're gonna need to do is, because when you're doing this transfer of data from the legacy system into the Oracle system, the system will need to know where each and every record, whatever the fields of each and every record will go when that transaction is sent to the Oracle system. There has to be that way of the system knowing what goes where. Okay, so for example, if the supplier ID is what you have in the legacy system, that supplier ID will be mapped to the supplier number in Oracle. Okay, assuming, let's say, for example, there is no supplier number field or supplier ID field in the Oracle system, and the client still needs to have that supplier ID field from the legacy system, they need that in the Oracle system. You can customize the Oracle system so that you can be able to store that information from the legacy system. Okay, so you can be able to do that. You can customize the system. For example, you can create a DFF to store that kind of value. Okay, you know what DFF is. If you're part of this training, you already know what DFF is if you've already done the general ledger module. All right. Now, the other thing as part of the design process is to determine the testing requirements. All right. Remember, you have to do a lot of testing when you're doing data conversion and also when you're developing the interfaces. Okay, a lot of testing, because if you don't test, then this conversion process can go wrong. Okay, so there has to be a lot of testing that goes on before you hand over the solution or the system to the client. Okay. The next list is to actually develop the program. Now, how is the program developed? Of course, this is created by the programmers. The developers, they create the programs. Okay. Now, for them to create the programs, you as a functional consultant, you have to create an MD50. An MD50 is basically a document that you draft that tells the technical consultant what exactly the requirement is, what needs to be customized. Okay, because remember, all this process, for example, creating those programs, creating interfaces and all that, that is customization. Okay, that requires writing of codes and all that by the developers. Okay, and for any customization, you have to create a customization document, which is usually called the MD50. That is created by the functional consultant. All right. And then once you create the MD50, you hand over the MD50 to the technical guys or the developers, and then they create the MD50s. Okay. And the MD50s, it will have all the codes that they are going to write in order to come up with the program. All right. Now, as part of the continuation of the conversion task list, number 4, the next task is to perform the conversion, the actual extraction and formatting of data. Okay, and then uploading the data into the interface tables. We've talked about all that, and then running the program to pick up the data from the interface table into the base table. Okay, now, as part of the performing the conversion, you really have to run many rounds of testing. Even though this is a one-time process, you have to do a lot of testing in order for the conversion to be 100% successful. All right. And the last but not least, as part of the conversion task list, is to actually verify the data that you've done the conversion. All right. And this, you can only do this by running reports. Okay, and then performing the reconciliation process. All right, we've talked about reconciliation. As an Oracle consultant, you will need to know how to reconcile maybe balances. Okay, you have to know how to use Excel very well to do the reconciliation. So you do part of this. You have to make sure that whatever transaction, let's say for example, you are doing conversion of assets from the legacy system into the Oracle system, and you've from the legacy system, you extracted 10,000 rows of asset records. Okay, so the same 10,000 rows of asset records, you will have to reconcile with your reports from the Oracle system and confirm that also you have 10,000 rows of asset records. Okay, and you also have to confirm the balances, the asset cost, accumulated depreciation balances, all that. Okay, as part of the reconciliation. Okay. Now, lastly, what are the examples of data that you can use for conversion? Because like I said, it's not everything out there that you'll have to do the conversion for. No. Okay, there's some data that you do conversion. Mostly you convert open purchase orders, you convert open invoices. These are invoices that have not been paid yet. Okay, you convert fixed assets, you convert supplier records, you also convert employee records, and also you can convert customer records. Okay, these are some of the examples of data for conversion. All right, that's pretty much it, and I will see you in my next class. Thank you. Bye-bye.